The trauma of present COVID-19 pandemic has hit teachers hard and is further compounded with school closures happening across the country. Our health always comes first before anything else, and the knowledge on how we can protect ourselves is essential while giving the best quality education to our learners. Good day, everyone. Welcome to our GAD Webinar 2021 with the theme COVID Vaccine, Health and Safety Kit Importance Webinar. To formally open our program, let us have the national anthem followed by an invocation through an audiovisual presentation.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiging, ewas ang sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyaga ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisipin, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ang pagkaw. Ay dinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ang pagkawat mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig. Ang pituloy na karoon niya kailan pang ay di magtitindig. Lumang ang araw ng warhagit pagsingka, mo'y nangit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pangay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these
At pati na rin po ang ating mga pamilya at patuloy po na makapagbigay ng quality education sa ating mga mag-aaral. And now, for our opening remarks, let us listen to Rnhs Gad Focal Person and the Head Teacher to Inang Babaylan of Araling Panlipunan Department, Mrs. Telma E. Villanueva. Good morning po.
Isang pinagpalang araw po sa ating lahat. Ngayong araw na ito po ay ang 3 araw na Gender and Development Training Program na kung saan isasagawa po natin ito webinar at ito po ay kinabibilangan ng mga non-teaching and teaching personnel ng ating paaralan. So sa kabila po ng ikalawang taon ng pagdaranas ng pandemya ng ating pong bansa at ng buong mundo, tuloy pa rin po ang edukasyon ng ating mag-aaral. At bilang bahagi po ng ating pag-iingat sa ating mga sarili, ngayong araw na ito po ay magkakaroon po tayo ng training na kung saan ay makakapulot po tayo ng iba't ibang tips kung paano po natin iingatan ang ating mga kalusugan at ang ating mga sarili. Bilang mga guro, kailangan po na ingatan natin ang ating mga sarili para sa kapakanan ng ating mga mag-aaral. Matuto po tayong sumunod sa safety protocols ng ating paaralan at ng ating pamahalaan. So sa kabila po ng lahat, tuloy pa rin po ang edukasyon. Sama-sama po tayo, mga magulang, mga mag-aaral, at tayo po Rnhs family, mabuhay po tayong lahat at palagi po tayong mag-iingat.
Thank you for that message, ma'am. Tunay nga na kailangan nating ingatan ng ating mga kalusugan dahil we only live once. Isa lang ang buhay natin. So, pagkaingatan po natin para mas matagal po tayong makapag-serve sa ating mga mag-aaral po. And now, to give a welcome remarks, let us listen to our Father Dolphin, King of Hashtags, our dearest principal, Mr. Donato A. Bataclan. Good morning po, sir.
Maraming salamat sa ating magandang MC. A great and blessed morning to each and everyone. So welcome, Dolphins, to our God Webinar. At sabi nga natin, napakahalaga ng ginagawang ito na gawain ng ating paaralan para sa mga teaching and non-teaching personnel. So taon-taon, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na training sa GAD, yung Gender and Development. Bago pa yung magkaroon ng tinatawag nating pandemic, kasama ng ating mga training seminar, nagkakaroon tayo ng team building. Pero ngayon, dahil nga tayo ay pandemic, more on webinar na kung saan ay marami tayong matutunan sa ating mga speaker. At sasamantalahin ko na rin ang magpasalamat, una sa ating God focal person, si Ma'am Telma Villanueva, na kung saan ang punong abala para dito sa ating ginagawang webinar. Kasama ang kanyang tropa sa Araling Panlipunan at kasama din natin ang ating mga department heads na talaga namang sabi ko nga gawain ng isang departamento pero lahat ay nakikialam at nakikisangkot. Sana po sa ating pong 145 teaching personnel ay tumutok dito sa gawaing ito at kahit na ang mga ilang teachers na ngayon ay ng grade 8, may schedule ng distribution or treatment ng module. Ang grade 9 naman ay voluntary na pumupunta sa school. Sana po ay tayo po ay makialam, makisangkot dito sa gawaing ito. And then meron din po tayong non-teaching. Ito po ay exclusive for teaching and non-teaching personnel. So sana madagdagan yung ating nanunood, madagdagan ang nakikinig dahil sabi ko nga, base doon sa tinatawag nating team ng ating God Webinar, sabi nga yung COVID vaccine, health and safety kit, importance. So napakahalaga at bawat isa sa atin kailangan vaccinated na tayo, lahat. At sabi ko nga, baka darating yung panahon, i-require ng DepEd na kailangan tayong mga guro, tayong mga kawani, sa gobyerno ay kailangan ay vaccinated. So, sana po, doon sa mga nagdadalawang isip pa rin, at mamaya ay lalong mapapalawig ang kanilang kaalaman, at sana po 100% tayo ay vaccinated. And then sabi nga, ang kailangan nating maging sandata sa panahong ito sa ating hindi nakikita na COVID-19 ay ang pag-iingat. So kinakailangan tayong malusog at kailangan yung tinatawag nating immune system natin ay talagang healthy. At mamaya, alam ko na bukod sa speaker natin na from our teacher, na ating clinic teacher, meron pa rin tayong invited na nurse, At ako po ay nagpapasalamat din dahil hindi rin po nagdalawang isip sila na pumayag na para maging resource speaker natin sa gawaing ito. So alam nyo, yung tinatawag nating #malasakitan, patuloy at patuloy na umuunlad o patuloy na ginagawa sa ating mahal na paaralan, ang paaralang Rosario National High School. At sabi ko nga, marami ang nagtitiwala sa ating paaralan at sana bawat isa sa atin ay nagtitiwala din, bawat isa sa atin ay nagmamahal din at nagmamalasakit, no, sa ating paaralan. At kita natin yung impact, yung kinakalabasan o resulta nito, hindi lang sa school level, maging sa district level, division level, and regional and national level, ay kilalang kilala ang Rosario National High School. So sana, wag po tayong bibitiw. Ito lang po ang simula, no, ng ating webinar. At sabi ko nga, ito ay 3 araw. So sana hindi magsasawa kung napapagod magpahinga at kinakailangan tayong makialam, kinakailangan tayong makisangkot at makipagtulungan anong gawain ay meron. So sana yung nakikinig na nakita natin na sabi kanina ay ilan pa supposed to be, dapat nasa na tayo kulang-kulang 200. Dahil nga sa teaching personnel nasa 145 na tayo plus non-teaching department heads and then ang non-teaching staff sa office. So sana po ay tayo po ay nanunood at napakahalaga ng ganitong gawain. So, welcome, no, to our GAD Webinar 2021. Again, good morning and mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you po, sir, for that message. Talaga namang kapag si sir ang nagsalita, talagang makakapulot tayo ng may substance talaga yung sinasabi ni sir at naiiwan nito sa ating isip, pati na rin sa ating puso. Ayan, for the mechanics of our activity, for our 3-day seminar, let us hear it from very masipag and mabait na Rnhs God Focal Person and Head Teacher 2 of Araling Panlipunan Department, Mrs. Salma E. Villanueva.
So narito po ang mechanics of the activity. Sa 3 araw na seminar po, yung day 1 ay magaganap nga po ngayong araw na ito. Ang magaganap po after po ng opening program ay susundan po ito ng ating mga lecturers. Ang lecture 1 po ay ibibigay po ni Mr. Or ni Sir Dewell Pinat, ng ating pong school nurse. Siya po ay tatalakay sa importance of using safety kit during pandemic. So, susundan po ito ng ating ikalawang lecturer, si Ma'am Imelda Paler, ang katulong din pong nurse ng ating paaralan, na kung saan tatalakayin niya po ang effectivity of PPE in preventing transmission of COVID-19. Then magkakaroon po tayo ng open forum sa day 1. Okay, so doon po sa day 2, ay ibibigay po natin ang ating sumunod na speaker. Bali siya na po ang ating ikatong speaker, natatalakay sa kinds of COVID vaccine and its efficacy, na ibibigay po ni Ma'am Rnhs Villanueva, isa pong registered nurse. At after po noon ay magkakaroon po tayo ng open forum. Then lahat po na may katanungan tungkol po sa kanyang topic ay pwede na po kayo magtanong. Ano po? At sa ikatlong araw po ay MOL po ulit. Then susundan po muling ibabalik ang ating speaker kahapon, na kung saan tatalakayin po ni Ma'am Rnhs Villanueva ang COVID-19 infection precaution and awareness. So after po nito, ito na po yung ating pagkakataon na itanong ang tungkol sa mga paksang kinalakay niya na napapanahon upang ingatan ang ating mga sarili. Yun lamang po, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you po, Ma'am Telma, for that mechanics of the activity. So now, buksan na po natin ang ating isip, pati na rin po ang ating mga puso, and let us proceed to the highlight of this webinar, our lecture proper. To introduce to you our first resource speaker, let us have the charming grade 10 AP teacher, Mrs. Yvonne V. De Hoya.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to introduce to you our speakers for today. Our first guest speaker graduated Bachelor of Science in Nursing at Olivares College, and took continuing professional teacher education at Technological University of the Philippines. Among her seminars conducted are National Drug Education Prevention Webinar Series and the WINS Program Webinar last 2020. She is currently a teacher in Rosario National High School. Let's give her a virtual round of applause, Mrs. Imelda R. Paler.
Good morning, everyone. Our topic for this morning is all about personal safety kit during pandemic. Our objective for this morning is to be able to know the importance of safety kit during pandemic. But what are those personal safety kit that we are talking about, which is commonly known as PPE or personal protective equipment? First is the gown. Next is your mask. Third is your face shield or eye goggles for others. And next is your gloves. So these are the four basic personal protective equipment that is being used nowadays. And my daughter once asked me, Mommy, why I should be wearing this mask and face shield? Then I simply answered, because I love you. Because sometimes simple questions need simple answers. No need for complications. Because love is the answer for all these questions, right? To proceed, sequence for putting on personal protective equipment or PPE has various types. It is just vary based on the level of precautions required, such as standard and contact, droplets or airborne infection, isolation precautions. And the procedure of putting and removing your PPE should be tailored to the specific type of your PPE use. Okay, the first thing that you have to wear is your gown. Your gown should be fully cover your torso from the neck to your knees, your arms up to the end of your wrist, and wrap around the back, and fasten in the back of your neck and your waist. And the next is your mask. Mask is being used to secure your respiration or for respiratory protection. Secure your ties or elastic bands at the middle of the head and neck. And fit flexible pant to nose bridge. Okay, so proper way of wearing your mask should be the first picture, not the second picture or the third picture. Okay, I know some others are wearing their mask like this one, but it is not the proper way of wearing it. Okay, so it should cover your nose bridge up to below the part of your chin. So that is the proper way of wearing your mask that simply fits your face. And the third is the face shield or the eye goggles for others. Place over the face and eyes and adjust to fit. Okay, obviously the first picture doesn't show you the proper way of wearing your face shield because you have to wear your mask first before your face shield. And the last thing that you have to wear is your gloves. Your gloves should extend to cover your wrist of isolation gown, meaning to say, okay, the cap of your glove should touch the cap of your gown, okay, to fully cover your body. So again, the first thing that you have to wear is your gown. Okay, the next is your mask that should fit your face. And the third one is your eye protection, which is your eye goggles or your face shield. And the last thing is your gloves that connects your gown and your gloves. Okay, aside from following the sequence in wearing your PPE, okay, you have to practice this as well. Keep hands away from your face. Why? Because the point of entry of viruses and bacteria is through your eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. Next is limit surface touch. If there is no need to touch anything, then prevent it from touching. Next is change gloves when torn or heavily contaminated. So wag na magtipid. If there is a need to change, then change it. And the last thing is perform hand hygiene, which is very important. And we always practice this to stop spreading contamination or bacteria or viruses. Okay, so if there is the proper way of putting on your PPEs, there is also safely removing your personal protective equipment. But there are a variety of ways of removing it without contaminating your clothing, skins, or mucous membrane with potentially infectious materials. So here, the first thing that you have to remove is your gloves. There's proper way of removing your gloves. First is you have to grab the palm of your glove and pull forward. Pull up the gloves, turning it inside out. Then put it on the other hand, then slide finger under cup and pull off the gloves covering removed gloves or glove. Then dispose it immediately in an appropriate uh, waste container. Then hand wash. Next to remove is your eye goggles or your face shield. Again, reminders, outside part of your eye shield or eye goggles are contaminated. So if your hands is just in case touch the contaminated part of your eye shield or eye goggles, you have to wash your hands immediately or sanitize it with alcohol. Remove goggles or face shield from the back by lifting headband or earpiece. But just in case if you're using reusable, then designate this to a receptacle for reprocessing. Or if not, if it is disposable, then discard it immediately to an appropriate waste container. Then the last or the next thing that you should remove is your gown. Gown, front, and sleeves are contaminated. Okay, meaning to say outside part of your gown is contaminated. So prevent it from touching. Just in case you touch the contaminated part, you have to wash your hands immediately or sanitize it. Then pull the gown away from you, from the neck to your shoulders, which is touching only the inside part of your gown. Then turn the gown inside out, fold or roll into a bundle and discard it in a waste container. Then the last thing that you have to remove is your mask or your respirator. Again, front part of your mask or respirator is contaminated, so do not touch it. Your hands contaminated, or just in case it is contaminated, you have to wash your hands or sanitize it with alcohol. Only grasp the bottom ties of your mask And do not touch your front part of your mask. Then discard it in appropriate waste container. Last part would be washing your hands with soap and water, or sanitize it with alcohol, but it is more appropriate to wash your hands with soap and water before using an alcohol. Okay. So of course, hand washing technique, we always do this, and we already know this. So to summarize, the donning and doffing of your PPEs and its importance: before wearing your PPE, you have to wash your hands or sanitize your hand with alcohol. And the first thing that you have to wear is your gown to protect your body from any elements, followed by a mask for respiratory protection. Next, good morning, everyone. Our topic for this morning is all about personal safety kit during pandemic. Our objective for this morning is to be able to know
At na-remind tayo sa ating mga kung paano gamitin ng maayos ang ating mga safety kits and kung paano din 'to i-dispose ng maayos. And also thank you po ma'am sa pagre-remind sa'min kung paano po, mas magagamit or mas ayan, nawala yung thank you po sa pagre-remind po sa'min kung paano po yung proper hand hygiene na wag pong, ah, i ah, hipuin ng hipuin yung mukha natin dahil nandiyan po yung mata, ilong, saka yung bibig kung saan po lahat po ng, bacteria or viruses ay pumapasok po sa ating katawan. Kung kayo po ay may mga questions or may mga, katanungan po ay maaari niyo pong i-note po muna dahil tayo po ay magkakaroon po ng open forum pagtapos po ng isa pa pong talk ng ating speaker. And for our next resource speaker, let us all again have Mrs. Yvonne V. De Hoya to introduce Sir Dewell Pinat.
At University of Perpetual Health System Delta and took continuing professional teacher education at Cavite State University Cavite City Campus. He is a registered nurse and a teacher by profession. Among his seminars conducted are National Drug Education Prevention Webinar Series and New Trends in Nursing the Geriatric Patients. He is currently a teacher and a school nurse in our school, Rosario National High School. Let's give our guest speaker a virtual round of applause, Mr. Dewell P. Peanut.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Shall we start? First and foremost, I would just like to clarify things regarding my topic because I have assigned to discuss COVID-19 vaccines and the same time with its implication to Delta variant. First and foremost, I would just like to clarify things regarding my topic because I have assigned to discuss COVID-19 vaccines and the same time with its implication to Delta variant. First and foremost, I would just like to clarify things regarding my topic because I have assigned to discuss COVID-19 vaccines and the same time with its Okay, our objectives for this webinar: know the importance of COVID-19 vaccines and its side effect, and understand the importance of COVID-19 vaccines and effectiveness in helping people to protect against severe disease and death, including the Delta variant. Okay, our objectives for this webinar: know the importance of COVID-19 vaccines and its side effect, and understand the importance of COVID-19 vaccines and effectiveness in helping people to protect against severe disease and death, including the Delta variant. Okay, our objectives for this webinar: know the
Okay, let us
importance
have
of
first a
COVID-19
short background on an
vaccines
abstract
and its
how this COVID 19 infectious disease
people to protect
started.
against
The
severe
novel human
disease and death,
coronavirus disease COVID-19 has become the fifth documented pandemic since the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic.
okay, let us have first
COVID-19 was first
background on
recorded in
abstract
human or
how this
Wuhan rather in
how this
particularly in Hubei,
COVID-19
China, and subsequently
infectious
spread
disease
worldwide.
started. The novel human coronavirus disease COVID-19 has become the fifth documented pandemic since the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Let us have first
COVID-19 was first
background
recorded in
on
human or
how this
Wuhan rather in
how this
particularly in Hubei,
COVID-19
China, and subsequently spread
infectious disease
worldwide.
started. The novel human coronavirus disease COVID-19 has
The
become
coronavirus was officially named
since the
Severe Acute
1918
Respiratory
Spanish flu
Syndrome
pandemic.
Coronavirus
COVID-19 was
SARS-CoV-2
first recorded
by
in
the
human
International
or
Committee
Wuhan
of the Taxonomy of
rather
Viruses
in
based on
Hubei,
phylogenetic analysis.
worldwide. The novel human coronavirus disease COVID-19 has
The
become
coronavirus was officially named Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 by the International Committee of the Taxonomy of Viruses based on phylogenetic analysis. Okay, SARS-CoV-2 is believed to be a spillover of an animal coronavirus and later adopted the ability of human-to-human transmission. Because the virus is highly contagious, it rapidly spreads and continues to evolve in the human population.
genetic analysis.
Okay, SARS-CoV-2 is believed to be a spillover of an animal coronavirus and later adopted the ability of human-to-human transmission. Because the virus is highly contagious, it rapidly spreads and continues to evolve in the human population. Okay,
SARS-CoV-2
however, the World Health Organization, or WHO, temporarily termed the new virus, 2019 novel coronavirus, as 2019 nCoV on the 12th day of January of 2020, and then officially named this infectious disease coronavirus as 2019 or COVID-19 on the
However,
12th
the World
of
Health
February
Organization, or WHO, temporarily
2020.
termed the new virus 2019 novel coronavirus as 2019 nCoV on the 12th day of January of 2020, and then officially named this infectious disease coronavirus as 2019 or COVID-19 on the However,
12th
the World
of
Health
February
Organization, or WHO, temporarily
2020.
termed the new virus
Okay, since
2019
COVID-19 initially emerged in China, the virus has evolved for 4 months and rapidly spread to other countries worldwide as a global threat.
2019 or COVID-19 on the 12th of February 2020.
Okay, since COVID-19 initially emerged in China, the virus has evolved for 4 months and rapidly spread to other countries worldwide as a global threat. COVID-19 affects different people in different ways. Most infected people will develop mild to moderate illnesses and recover without hospitalization. And the most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness.
Worldwide as a global threat.
COVID-19 affects different people in different ways. Most infected people will develop mild to moderate illnesses and recover without hospitalization. And the most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness. While the less common symptoms are aches, pains, sore throat, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, and skin rashes or discoloration.
And recover without hospitalization. And the most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness.
While the less common symptoms are aches, pains, sore throat, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, and skin rashes or discoloration. While the less common symptoms are aches and pains and sore throats, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss or taste or smell,
While
and
common
skin
symptoms
rashes or
are
discoloration.
pain, sore throat,
When,
diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, and skin rashes or discoloration.
while the less common symptoms are aches and pains and sore throats, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, headache, loss or taste or smell, and skin rashes or discoloration.
Sore throat, diarrhea,
Okay, now talking about the pandemic of this COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines. The COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines is part of the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2. Okay, now talking about the pandemic of this COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines. The COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines is part of the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2. The
Okay,
first
now
case in the Philippines was identified on January 30, 2020, and involved a 38-year-old Chinese woman who was confined at San Lazaro Hospital in Metro Manila.
2019 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2.
The first case in the Philippines was identified on January 30, 2020, and involved a 38-year-old Chinese woman who was confined at San Lazaro Hospital in Metro Manila. On February 1st, a posthumous test result from a 44-year-old Chinese man turned out positive for the virus, making the Philippines the first country outside China to record a confirmed death from the
Involved
disease.
38-year-old Chinese woman who was confined at San Lazaro Hospital in Metro Manila. On February 1st, a posthumous test result from a 44-year-old Chinese man turned out positive for the virus, making the Philippines the first country outside China to record a confirmed death from the disease. 38-year-old Chinese woman.
Now, since the fact that COVID-19 variants are existing in our country, there are five famous different variants. The first one, the Alpha variant, or known as the UK variant, or
Now,
B.1.17, the
since
first
the
found
fact
in
that
London and Kent.
COVID-19
The
variants
second
are
one is the
existing
Beta variant
in our
from South Africa
country, there are
variant, or 8
five famous different
B.1.351
variants. The
variant.
first one, Alpha
The third
variant,
one is a Gamma
known as the
variant, or the
UK
Brazil
variant, or
variant, or B.1 variant.
B.1.17, the first
The
found in
fourth one
London.
is the
The
famous and
second
the
is the
most
Beta variant
vicious
from
type
South
of
Africa
variant, the
variant, or
Delta variant, from India variant, or
8.351
what we call the
variant. The third one is the Gamma variant, or the Brazil variant, or B.1
B.17.2 variant.
The
And the
fourth
last
one
will
is the
be the Lambda
famous,
variant from
most
Peru, or the
vicious
Peru variant,
type
or
of
the
Delta
C.37 variant.
from India variant, or what you call the
B.1.6,
The third one is the Gamma variant, or the Brazil variant,
uh,
B.17.2 variant. And the last will
now,
be the Lambda variant from Peru, or the Peru variant, or the C.37 variant from India variant, or what you
okay,
call
now let's talk about the importance or the significance of vaccine and immunization. Since the vaccine is a substance used to stimulate the production of antibodies and provide immunity against one or several uh, diseases prepared from causative agent of a disease or its product or a synthetic substitute treated to act as an antigen without including the disease. So immunization refers to the action of making a person an animal immune to infection or typically by inoculation or vaccination. So COVID-19 vaccines with emergency use authorization. The first one is the famous Pfizer BioNTech. The country with emergency use authorization has 97 countries, including USA, UK, European Union, Canada, Switzerland, and Philippines. The date it was introduced last December 23 of 2020 and approved by FDA was January 14 of 2021. Technology platform. They use mRNA or messenger RNA or synthetic RNA. Now dose, it has two doses. The frequency is, it has 21 days apart. Now the age group target or covered was 12 years and above, and the efficacy has 95% for symptomatic COVID-19 cases, 7 days after the second dose for 16-year-old and above. Lolbot. Now, the vaccine efficacy, it has 100% symptomatic for symptomatic cases for COVID-19 occurring at least 7 days after the second dose for 12 to 15 years old. Then the adverse effect would be mild to moderate pain at the injection site, fatigue, and headache. While the target population was adolescents 12 to 15 years old, elderly, and immunocompromised people or individual who has or pre-existing conditions. The second one is the famous Oxford AstraZeneca. The country with uh, emergency use authorization has 121 countries, including UK, USA, Australia, Mexico, Argentina, India, and Philippines. The date it was introduced last January 6 of 2021, and approval by the FDA was January 28 of 2021. Now, technology platform, it has viral vector or non-replicating type of virus. Now, the dose will be 2 doses. The frequency will be 4 to 12 weeks apart. The age group target, 18 years old and above, and the vaccine efficacy has 70 to 81% symptomatic coronavirus cases from 14 days after the second dose. So for the adverse effect, the injection site pain with tenderness, fatigue, headache, feverishness, and myalgia. That's referring to aches or pains that involves ligament, tendon, soft tissues of the organs. Target population, 18 years old and above, elderly, and immunocompromised individuals. The third one is Sinovac or Coronavac. The country with emergency use authorization was China, Philippines, Indonesia, Turkey, Brazil, Malaysia, and Thailand. A date introduced January 13th of 2021, and with approval of FDA was February 22, 2021. Technology platform, inactivated virus, or it means they are the original virus that came from their laboratory. And then the dose will be 2 doses, and the frequency will be 28 days apart. Age group covered, 18 years old and above. So the vaccine efficacy will be 51% against symptomatic case of COVID-19. The adverse effect will be hives or giant hives or pamamantal, allergic rashes, anaphylactic shock, convulsion, purpura, local lymphadenopathy at the injection site or swelling of the injection site. While the target population is 18 years old to 65 years old and elderly, immunocompromised people or individuals with pre-existing health conditions. The fourth one is the Gamaleya Sputnik V, which has 71 countries using this vaccine from the emergency use authorization, like Russia, Argentina, Bahrain, Belarus, Hungary, and Philippines. The date introduced January 7 of 2021, and approval with the FDA was March 19 of 2021. Technology platform was viral vector or non-replicating. The dose will be 2 doses, and the frequency has 21 to 42 days apart, and the age group covered is 18 years old and above. So the vaccine efficacy has 91 to 95% overall for vaccine efficacy against symptomatic cases of COVID-19 20 days after the first dose. Adverse effect will be local pain on injection site, hypothermia, swelling, headache, muscle or joint pains, malaise or body malaise, diarrhea, loss of appetite, nasal congestion, sneezing. The target population will be 18 years old and above, elderly, and immunocompromised people. The fifth one is the Johnson & Johnson's Janssen. The country with emergency use authority has 59 countries, including USA, Canada, Germany, Italy, South Africa, and Philippines. The date introduced was March 31 of 2021, and approval with the FDA was April 19 of 2021. Technology platform, viral vector or non-replicating. The dose and frequency has 1 dose. So age group covered 18 years old and above. So the vaccine efficacy has 67 to 73% against moderate or severe or critical cases of COVID-19 14 days after the vaccination. The adverse effect would be local pain, redness, swelling in injection site, tiredness, headache, muscle pain, chills, fever, and nausea. Target population, 18 years old and above, elderly, and people or individuals who are pre-existing conditions. The sixth one is the Barrett Biotech's Covaxin. The country with emergency use authorization has 9 countries, including India, Iran, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, Nepal, Mexico, and Philippines. Date introduced January 22, 2021. FDA approval April 18, 2021. It's under conditional. Then they approve it with amendment. They amend the date from May 8, 28 of 2021. Technology platform, inactivated virus, dose to doses, frequency 28 days apart, and the age group target or covered is 18 years old and above. The vaccine efficacy has 77 to 86% against symptomatic case of COVID-19 after the second dose, while the adverse effect would be headache, fatigue, fever, body ache, abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, dizziness, tremor, sweating, cold, cough, injection site, swelling. The target population, 18 years old and above, elderly and immunocompromised individuals. The 7-1 is the famous Moderna. Okay, the country with emergency use authorization has 68 countries, including USA, UK, EU, Switzerland, Canada, Australia, and Philippines. So they introduced 26 of 2021, and approval of the FDA was May 5 of 2021. The technology platform is the synthetic or the messenger RNA, the dose to doses, frequency 28 days apart, age group covered 18 years old and above. The vaccine efficacy 94 to 96 percent, all against symptomatic cases of COVID-19 occurring at least 14 days after the second dose. Adverse effect will be pain in the injection site, fatigue, headache, chills, nausea and vomiting, axillary swelling, tenderness, fever, swelling at the injection site. Target population 18 years old and above, the elderly with uh, immunocompromised individuals. Uh, the last one is Sinopharm. The country with emergency use authorization has 60 countries worldwide, including Argentina, Hungary, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, UAE, Philippines. The date, it is not applicable because they did not mention the date specifically. Then the approval of FDA was June 7 of 2021. Technology platform, inactivated virus, the dose, two doses, the frequency 21 to 28 days apart, age group target or covered 18 years old and above. The vaccine efficacy has 79 to 87% against symptomatic cases of COVID, 14 or more days after the second dose. The adverse effect, pain at the injection site, headache, redness, swelling, fever, fatigue, cough, nausea, diarrhea, and pruritus, or the itchiness of the skin. The target population, 18 years old and above, elderly with individuals with pre-existing conditions. So before I end up this talk, I would just like to emphasize that the importance of PPE regarding this COVID-19 disease, and this is the most virulent type or vicious type of disease spreading worldwide, is how to protect yourself from contracting the virus. That's why it is important for us to know and to be aware every day and every single day of our lives that we have to protect ourselves by wearing our face mask, face shield, and keep on cleaning our hands, and don't touch any oral or any orifices or open orifices of your face, just to be able to not contracting the virus itself. Now, as what the World Health Organization says, health issues and to untimely prepare them for reintegration into society, vaccination is crucial in terms of ensuring overall health and well-being. Thank you and have a blessed day.